And honestly, in my opinion, again, as we both get older, we also find the culture of in relationships, how they treat older men is much better than in the Western.
Okay, so what would you say the differences are between people who come here on vacation? Because we both come here on vacation, holiday for the people from the UK. If you come here on vacation, even if you've come several times, to actually live in here 365 days a year, what's the main differences you've found?
Well, the first thing is when you're on vacation, you're spending everything in your pocketbook.
Sure.
Right? You can't do that when you're here full time. You have to have a budget. If you don't have a budget, you're not going to be successful because the end result is you're going to run out of money.
Sure.
Unless you're independently wealthy, which in that case you can retire anywhere. So that's probably the biggest thing. But there's so many little things to do outside of the tourist area that you don't get to see as a as a tourist, right? Vacationer. I mean, I really like Mexican food, and it turns out there's a great Mexican place just a soy over that you'd never see if you were here as a tourist.
Sure.
Yeah.
And how do you feel that the actual Thai people treat you? Do you find them quite welcoming, or?
I would say yes. They are generally very welcoming in the area. They're great people. You treat them well, and they treat you well. I mean, granted, there's bad apples in every bunch, right? But that's not the norm here.
Is there anything you don't like about Thailand?
Sure. Anybody's going to be able to come up with something they don't like. As an example, there's a lot of things. I know some of your pet peeves from videos, like food not coming out at the same time. As an example, is one of yours. There's so many little things. But again, if you're patient and you're tolerant, they're just gonna run right off your back. One example is Thailand has the same address, if you will, or multiple addresses for the same location.
Crazy.
Yeah, I got a bus reservation last weekend, and I typed the address in Google, and Google didn't know where it was. Right. So you got to be able to deal with and adjust to those nuances.
Right. What actually convinced you to move out here at full time?
I'd say the three things was, one, that I vacationed and then realized I didn't want to leave, which was the first time it ever happened in my life. Two, the economics of it. Really, and the culture, again, the male-female culture versus the Western male-female culture.
So I believe you're retired, you're not working, right?
Correct.
So how do you spend every day? Because if you've got nothing to do, the time can drag on.
With a smile on my face every day. I mean, if I'm not exercising, I do volunteer some of my time for places back in the U.S., I have a lot of hobbies that I do. I think I mentioned on a previous video that I do like to game, so I'm one of the older generation gamers, so that's what a lot of that computer stuff back there is for. So I have a lot of things that I can keep me busy. So there's never enough time in the day. My mom always used to say that, I always complained. She said she was always busy, and it's busy doing stuff you want to do, not busy doing stuff because you have to for work.
Sure. And if somebody was watching this and they're kind of sitting on the fence and they're thinking, do you know what, I've been to Thailand several times, I'm fed up with my life here, wherever they are in the world, financially I could move to Thailand, but I'm not sure. What would you say to those sort of people?
Well, if there's not an economic reason or a family reason that's stopping you, then I would say, if it's just you're like, I'm not really sure, should I do this? Take a long vacation and see how you feel after a long vacation. And if at the long vacation you're still positive, then I would say take the plunge and give it a try. I mean, if you're totally unsure, then don't sell everything back home. Come out for a year and then make your transition. So you can make a very broad transition. I knew it was the thing I wanted to do, and I wasn't going back, so I made it as quick as possible and sold everything in 3 months.
So was there anything that you wish you'd have brought out here that you can't get out here? I think you can just about get everything out here now. There's nothing I personally that I can't get that I want. How about you?
So some things are a little more expensive, yes. I found out recently I can actually order from Amazon, which is big in obviously the U.S., and it just takes an extra week or two to get here. And yeah, you might have to pay import fees depending on what you're doing. You can also have friends and family send you care packages.
Sure.
So there's, I would say if you're moving and you have personal sentimental belongings and you want to ship them over, then those are things that you would obviously can't replace. So if there's things you can't replace, obviously bring those. But in reference to day in, day out items. I mean, pretty much everything's available here.
So what about things like visas and driving licenses and things like that? So for people watching this and they want to know how easy or difficult it is,
Right.
how have you found it? Because I believe you're going to apply for your next visa yourself. You use an agent to do the first one.
Correct.
And how was that?
So when you come over, you typically have a tourist visa, unless you've arranged something beforehand, which is perfectly fine. And then you can use an agent to get a visa, because you're kind of under a time crunch when you're on a tourist, unless you're doing a lot of traveling to other countries. I used an agent. I just wanted to get it done with. I didn't want to have any problems. But the second go around, because you get 15 months on the first visa you have, retirement visa. Second one, you get 12. So I'm going to do that in January, because mine's going to expire in the first quarter of next year. I'm going to try to do it myself. I got my driver's license myself, and I think it's very manageable, especially with a little bit of assistance. I think you can do it.
And you know, a lot of people who move out here, they move down to Pattaya because it is cheaper at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
The entertainment's cheaper. You've got the beach, some nice areas you can walk and what have you. What made you decide not Pattaya as opposed to Bangkok?
Predominantly because I think Pattaya is a wonderful place to visit. It's to me, it's a resort town, right? So I love to visit there, but I don't necessarily want to live in that community. You can go to Jumpton. Jumpton's beautiful too. Honestly, it was just the case that, you know, I do like exercising. I'm really close to a very nice park. I literally find myself walking places, and I kind of feel that if I was in Pattaya or Jumpton, I'd scooter more places. And I want the exercise. So I'm walking to get dinner, I'm walking to do things, so it helps.
So if you could give somebody in America, for instance, or sitting in the UK, if you could give them 3 pieces of advice if they want to come out here and retire, because you've done it, I've done it, what 3 pieces of advice would you offer people out there?
Well, definitely get your financial house in order, right? Whatever that is. Make sure you have the budget to come out here. You know, you can't come out here and live like a king on a pauper's budget, right? So you definitely need to make sure that your budget matches your desired lifestyle. After that, yeah, I mean, from a belongings perspective, like if you're back and you have rental properties and that's your income, well, make sure you have somebody to take care of your rental properties, right? I mean, the end result is you just can't do this as like, oh, I'm jumping on a plane and I'm coming. I mean, you can, but yeah, you're gonna have things that you're gonna have to fix back wherever you're coming from. Make sure you're good with separation from friends and family, right? If you have kids and are have grandkids soon, that could be a problem. You may realize that you're flying back and forth a lot. And if you are, and you're fine with that, that's okay too. You just have to think about the different scenarios that could come up in the next 5 or 10 years and make sure you've kind of planned for it.
We were talking before we started filming about there's some guys who they've got very little patience, and they could get really wound up out here. And I don't think maybe if they come out here on vacation, when you live here, you start to see things can get to you a little bit. They do with me, but not to the point where I get so angry. But like Edward said, you know, when you go for a meal, 2 people, normally one meal comes out and you wait 5-10 minutes and then the second meal comes out. Right. But I mean, that's a big issue, isn't it, with people, guys who are not able to tolerate things like that?
Yeah, I think there is a decent list of things you have to tolerate, but they're not big issues. You know, it's kind of like mosquitoes. You know,
right.
As an example, if you're the kind of person that one mosquito bothers you and you have to leave the room, those little things do exist in Thailand. I went to a very popular mall during the middle of the week at right around main time, and you would expect every store to be open, and the store I needed to go to was barred closed, right? And they can at will close their store. And it was a large store, they just closed their store. So, I mean, you have to be able to roll with the punches.
So what would you say your top 3, let's not say hates, but dislikes here in Thailand? We mentioned one of mine, which is the food coming out at a separate time. Is there any 3 that come to mind?
So I know this one is very popular, and you have to be able to deal with this. If you get into, whether it be a financial or you work, you're talking to somebody in a business or just in your personal life, if you're talking to a Thai in English, they're going to say they understand and they're going to nod along. And if they don't, they really probably don't understand. And you have to make sure that you realize that they're not really understanding. And if it's an important topic, you need to break out the translator and get that answer or get that message across. Don't assume that they actually know because they say that they know, because they really don't. Yeah,
and there's some really great translation services now. Google Translate, and the line the line one where you can send a message in English and it automatically changes it over to text, and they can send it in Thai, and it comes in. It's called, it's part of the line. I forget the exact name of the app, but
it's like EN to TH translator.
That's it, TH.
Yeah, and it's definitely a godsend for talking back and forth here.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, they don't have the line, then you can use Google Translate, as you mentioned, or you can use an app. Anything that works. But the point of the story is, don't believe them
when they say they understand you.
In English.
Sure. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but Google Translate actually have a conversation mode on there. So I used to translate like everybody else, just say it in English and show the phone.
Right.
But you can actually lay it on the table, press a conversation button, and you can actually have a conversation with a Thai, and it doesn't stop. It's just when they speak, it translates to English, and vice versa.
Yeah, I've actually heard one of the new smart glasses is auto-translating now as well, except it doesn't offer Thai. So as soon as it offers Thai, I'm going to definitely buy a set of those.
I don't think I could wear them because I already wear glasses anyway. So what about the romance side of things? Would you say it's easier to hook up with a girl here, or more difficult than in America? Or
Well, entertainment is a buffet in Thailand, as your viewers probably know. But let's talk more of a serious relationship. Sure. I think there is, especially somebody my age, my dating profile, definitely there's a lot more opportunity here to find somebody. But again, it's like anything else. There's things you're going to have to cope with, and you're going to have to cope with the language barrier, right? And that's something I'm willing to give and cope with for the right person. Whereas if you take the same situation and you go into the Western area, Western culture, it's a completely different dating market and dating concepts.